so great to hear you from all over the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Breakfast of Champions call. This is your host and speaker, James Zhang, with you today. And I got a question for you. Have you ever been doing the do in your business and you, for some reason, are not seeing the results that you want? Maybe you see others doing what seems to be the same actions that you're doing. You're posting, you're talking to people, you're prospecting, you're diligent with the trainings, and you're wondering and scratching your head on why they're different than you. Well, today I want to share with you an extremely important message that if you take to heart and change, will shift your mindset, will shift your results instantly. And it changed my life when I understood this as well too. Today, the title of my message is Inspect What You Expect. Inspect what you expect. And I remember what happened was I as I was learning how to close prospects. This was back in the day we were doing a lot of in-person meetings, and we did hotel meetings. So we would do the presentation, and then afterwards, the closers would go around the room and help talk to the prospects and go answer questions and get them started. So here I am, I'm suited up, G'd up from the feet up. I got my briefcase, I'm ready. I'm like, let's go. I'm helping my teammates. I know who I need to talk to. I'm going up to them. And I noticed there was an interesting pattern. I would sit down with the prospect and I knew what to say. I had the skills, but it would take me 20 minutes answering 20 questions to get to the end of a conversation that many times ended with, I'll think about it. I'll think about the product. I'll think about the business. Let me get back to you. And in the meanwhile, I'm in the hotel room. And what we would do back in the day is when someone got started, they would get up, stand up, and they would yell across the room, "Can I have your attention, please? Let's welcome Mike to the family." And they'd clap and cheer. So here I am answering the 20 questions. I knew it all and I was answering it really well. And here was another person that every couple minutes would just make these announcements of new people getting started. And I just started getting bugged and frustrated and irked. And I'm just like, what's wrong with me? And it was when I realized that the byproduct of our actions are not only the actions themselves, but that there's this game of your results is 80% mindset and 20% is skill set. And the key difference wasn't what I was saying, it was what I was expecting. So, and I want us to really think about your business today. And I want you to think about the results that you're getting. Because here's the truth. When I started to understand mindset, I spent over $40,000, by the way, and many years studying this material. And I'm just going to give you the truth of how this works. The results in our life are a byproduct of the thoughts that we believe. It's the thoughts that we believe, not the thoughts that we have. It's not the thoughts that we want to have, the nice to haves. See, we all want amazing results in our business, right? If I were to ask the question, who here wants to crush it in your business, 10x your results, make a lot of money, transform and impact lives, I think most of us would raise our hands and be like, of course, that's why I'm here, James, duh. But if you actually dive deeper, you see, we think we have multiple different channels of thoughts. We have a conscious mind. We can choose. For example, if I told you right now to think about your breathing, you're now thinking about your inhale and then your exhale, and you're conscious of it. But you aren't thinking about your heartbeat. You aren't thinking about the other things that go on in your life. Most of the things that we do in our life are actually subconscious. Our body is a energy preservation mechanism. So it does a lot of things that are automated. But did you know that also a lot of the thoughts that we believe about your results are automated as well too? We call this the subconscious. The subconscious are those thoughts that have been thought over and over and over and over and over again that are lodged into an aspect of our being that we just stand on. And the issue is this is what I didn't realize is even if I wanted better results, unless I actually shifted what I subconsciously believed to be true, my outward results would not change as well too. So you have to think about what you think about. And I'd encourage you, this is now January 23rd, it's 3 weeks into 2025. Real question. How do you like your results so far in your business? How do you like your results in relation to your God sized dreams? If I'm to be honest with you, looking at my own results, I'm like, they're not enough. I'm behind. I need to take it to the next level. Is anyone else like that, or is that just me? But I understand the pattern of this. You see, by this time, what you start to see is you start to see the byproduct of our actual beliefs. You can call these paradigms, which are a set of subconsciously held beliefs. And we have paradigms over our weight, our health, our money, our business, our results. Any single thing that we have a result in our life, it is a byproduct of these paradigms. So if you don't like the result, then what do we have to do? We have to inspect what we expect. We have to inspect what we expect. So I want us right now to just look at your results truthfully, especially if you don't like them, and come to terms. We have to take ego out of it. Remember, ego, stands for edging God out. So take the ego out of it. Let's be honest in front of God because He knows our thoughts, our innermost thoughts. And just come and be honest and be like, you know what? I might not even be aware of what I'm actually thinking, but it's evident there's something off with my thinking. Remember, the mind is it's like a fertile field. Whatever we plant in it will be coming out in the form of some result at some point. It says in scripture that you have to guard your heart because out of that comes all matters of life, including the results in your business, including the results in your life. So I look at the results that I don't like, and then I have to backtrack and think, what is it that I actually expected? All right. Let me give an example for you, very practical. There was a time in my business that I was enrolling new partners into our network marketing team. And I realized that there was a pattern where every single person that got started with me seemed to never have money. Have you had that happen before? They always said, I have to wait for my next paycheck. I just don't have money right now. And they would get started with like nothing. They get started with like a membership in our business, which doesn't pay, right? And for a little bit, I sold myself this thought. I said, well, it must mean that people just don't have money these days. Times are tough, economy's tough. That's just the way that it is. Champion, let's challenge these things. Question: are your expectations being conformed to the negative results you're seeing outwardly? Or are you willing to shift the expectation to what it is you truly desire? See, champions are the ones that no matter what the outward circumstances are able to shift and lead and get a different result. It takes leaders to actually change how things are going. It takes leaders to swim upstream. You see, it's easy to go and conform to what the rest of the world thinks and believes. It's easy to fall into a victim mindset of saying the product's too expensive. Nobody has any but money. No one likes network marketing or partnership marketing. I already talked to everybody. These things are easy because they don't take any energy to change. But if you want different results in your life, if you want to be the top 1%, if you want to be a champion and rise above what it is that the world is saying, you have to realize that you have power in shifting what you expect. So I remember I noticed this pattern. So note that pattern for yourself. What are the patterns of results? Maybe it's a pattern of, you talk to everyone, they say, I need to think about it, and then they never get back to you. Maybe it's a pattern of you enroll a customer and all of your customers don't get good results on the product and then they end up returning the product or ghost you. Maybe it's a pattern of you do enroll partners, but everyone does not actually want to build their business. And you think to yourself, well, nobody wants to build their business. Maybe it's a pattern of people actually just leaving the business. They quit. What are the patterns you're seeing right now in your results that you don't like? Let's take that one and let's change the expectation. All right. So I realized this pattern about my when I was enrolling people. I noticed this broke-minded pattern. And I realized that, okay, if that's a byproduct of my subconsciously held beliefs, what if I started planting different expectations? What if I inspected what I expected and I changed that expectation? So I started to think to myself, every single person I talk to will easily afford the value that I have. Every single person I talk to will find the money to be able to afford what it is that I'm providing. See, money's never an issue, value is. That's the truth. Case in point, how is it that people continue to afford these really overpriced iPhones that are now like $1,500? They find a way. How is it that people find a way to get the money to go on vacation? They find a way to go to the next rave. They find a way to go out. They find a way. People will find a way when they decide something is valuable to them. So I started to shift my mindset on value. I started to shift my mindset on my expectation. And right away, the next prospects that I talked to, the results are different. From then on, it was super rare for me to get someone to say, I can't afford it. What I started to find is people would spend $1,000 with me. They would start to get higher packages. They would start to see the value in the business or find the money for the business. It was eliminated from the vocabulary. And I was just like, isn't that interesting? If you take the time to inspect what you expect and you actually change the expectation, you give it some time. It might not be overnight, it might not be in a week, it might not be in a month, but you give it 90 days. And every day, just start to really battle the mind. Some of us, by the way, have been so entrenched with low expectations and traumas and hurts that we are not, it's going to take some time to be able to break this mold. And I get it, by the way, champion, because I was in the same shoes. Can I be very honest with you? Very honest with you. This was so hard for me to do because I grew up in a life where I had shaped my expectations to be so low. I had been hurt so much in my life. My bar was super low. You see, I grew up a chubby kid. I grew up unpopular. I grew up not being the one that people wanted to be around. I was made fun of. Maybe you were as well too. So because of that, I grew up in a conditioning where I learned to callous my heart against getting my hopes up. I relegated myself to knowing I was a loser. I knew I was a failure. I knew it was easy to think that way. Here is my philosophy. I remember sharing this. It's almost embarrassing to say this, but it's the truth. It's important to confront the truth. In high school, I remember I had a philosophy. Remember, philosophies are thoughts, they are paradigms, they are deeply held beliefs that may or may not be true in the grand scheme of life, but if you hold it to be true, it is true. Okay. So, my belief and my philosophy was this, and I tell my classmates, don't try, you only get hurt. Don't try, you only get hurt. Guess what? If you take that philosophy into business, what do you think your results are going to be like? Not much, because I didn't expect much. So, right when I got involved in my network marketing business, I had to go battle against my preconceived notions of what life was going to be like. I had to inspect what I expected on don't try, you're only going to get hurt. Two, if you never try, you'll never know. If you never ask, you'll never know. Every amazing miracle is on the byproduct and on the other side of a challenge, of an attempt. I had to reframe my notion on failures. Failures is your first attempt in learning. Failure is not final. Champions continue to move, they continue to get up. I started to reframe my mind on what I expected. I expected that any single thing that I touch will succeed. In fact, for me, my greatest way of changing expectations is I look at scripture. And there's one that I'll share because this will be important that you inspect what you inspect. It says that God can do infinitely, abundantly more than you can ever ask or imagine. So get this, don't just change your expectation to what you want. When I started to realize this fact of life, that if I dream the biggest things ever, if I expect the biggest things ever, guess what, champion? God can top that. Do you receive that, by the way? So I started to realize I was shortchanging myself in my expectation. Why aim so low? Why expect to only just make a sale? Why expect to only make a little bit of money? Why not expect the biggest things that I could ever imagine or envision? Because God's going to meet you in that expectation. I don't have much because I don't ask for much. So I learned to start to ask for big, audacious things. I learned to start to expect crazy things. When I go on a call, I expect it to go viral. When I talk to a prospect, I expect top money earners to come out. When I talk to a customer, I expect them to love the results and give me the next amazing testimonial so big that they're sharing it with their friends and family. Are you willing to expect great things? Are you willing to inspect what you expect? It's going to force you to become vulnerable, by the way, though. It's going to force you to let open your heart once again. It's going to mean that you're going to be weathering some storms. It's going to mean that you're going to have some pains and disappointments. But this is what I know. Here's another expectation: God never wastes a pain. And every single thing that happens is happening for you. Even the things that you think are bad are actually just redirections for the good. So as you put and condition yourself and align yourself in this different expectation, this is how now, when people are around me, they're like, James, it seems like you never have a bad day. It seems like you're always excited. It seems like you're always up, which, by the way, I'm not always excited. I have many bad days. But I bounce back to this expectation of major things happening because I rest on these thoughts now of what the truth actually is, that you're going to get greater things than what you expect. But it's our job to make sure that we're planting those major expectations. So, champion, are you going to do this today? Are you going to inspect what you expect? Are you going to make sure that we bulldoze the things that are holding us back? I'll just leave it at this. You know, one of the craziest things that I see happen, I fall into this as well too, right? Albert Einstein was quoted as saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting change. I want to challenge you right here. So we start to end this. The craziest thing that I see happen in people in business is they end up actually going to the training, they do take the notes, and they do take the action. But then we self-sabotage ourselves right before the result can come because we're scared to be disappointed. We make the prospect call and we hope they don't pick up. We make that social media post and hope no one responds because we're scared to talk to them. We do the action that's going to lead to the result, but then last moment we do a double take. We're double-minded, and then we're just like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want the result." If you're going to put in the work anyway, why not get the fruit of your labor? Either don't do the work or do it and get an amazing result. So, can I challenge you today that if you're doing the work today, expect amazing results? If you're doing the work today, receive the fruit that you deserve. Just take yourself out of the picture now and just allow yourself to believe just for a little bit that you're going to have greater than what you even expect. Allow yourself in the next opportunities. Just watch to see what happens to your results, and miracles are going to follow you, and breakthroughs are going to happen, and crazy results are going to be amazing. And I can't wait to hear those from you as well. All right. So, champion, inspect what you expect today. I hope you take this to heart. By the way, we put these plus all others on our podcast, bocpodcast.com. You might share this with someone. You might want to replay this one or others that we have as well. Other than that, let's go crush the day.